The going live feature's taking its time. And the one time that I think, oh, I could just jump into it. No, it was actually going to be. I could go whatever direction you need to. Mm-hmm. So good morning. We start talking and then I sort of give it a little time to make sure that everybody's audio connects. My name is Judge Person. I welcome you to the online Temple Municipal Court. I'll make a few announcements before we get started, and I'm kind of delaying just slightly to sort of get everybody to connect on in. I want to let you know a few things. When you're given a ticket or issued a citation, those are all methods that the law has for making an accusation. That's what a ticket is. It's an accusation. When you give a plea, you're giving an answer or response to that accusation. And there are three options for pleading: guilty, not guilty, and no contest. Now, a plea of guilty means you're saying, I did this, okay? A plea of no contest means I'm not contesting it. I'm not going to admit or deny the offense, but I want to move forward with sentencing. If you plead not guilty, you're just maintaining that innocence that the law already presumes. So we're presumed not guilty unless we're found guilty at trial, or we change that presumption with our plea, okay? And just once again, a plea, because I see some audio connecting that wasn't connected. Once again, a plea is really an answer or response to an accusation, the accusation having been made by that ticket or citation or summons to court based on a complaint. There are multiple ways that things get filed with the court, multiple ways that that accusation gets made, okay? Everybody kind of with me so far? Just a little nod there, thank you, okay. So I can see everybody. You might or might not be able to see me, but I do want to tell you just a few more things. If you've pleaded not guilty, we're directing that case toward heading to trial, like a heading to trial process, okay? And I have a few folks on that docket today, and we will have a breakout room for you to talk to the city's prosecutor. City's prosecutor is Ryan Matson. Mr. Matson's going to give a wave now, if you can see him on the screen. Mr. Matson, unmute and talk for just a moment. Say good morning, because I'm now realizing people actually don't see you make that wave every morning like I thought they did. So could you tell people who you are?
Good morning, everyone. I am the city prosecutor, and if you're on my docket, we'll be speaking about your citation today. Perfect.
Thank you. And so just, you'll know who he is. He does not represent you. He represents the state of Texas, okay? And so the party that filed the charge is who he's representing, just so that you know that going into that conversation. So another thing I want to talk to you about, if you plead guilty or no contest, then, now we know we're not guilty's going. And that is today's meeting. There's a live meeting that we do after today for things that are really heading toward trial, because, well, honestly, when we head to trial, there's no problem with that at all. But there's a legal process that needs to be followed that, without giving you like a 101 course here, it really, directs me to make sure that the rights that you have are being honored and respected as we go. So it can seem tedious, but actually that's what the law requires. So there'll be this meeting here. This is an opportunity to look carefully at your case. Think about if you're heading toward trial. The prosecutor is doing the exact same thing, okay? And y'all are having probably a pretty quick conversation. If it's resolvable at this level, great. If it's not, we come on in, we set that case up. We've got to do a bond setting and, just a few more pretty quick preliminary things. That's a live moment here in the court, a live setting. And then we're scheduling the type of trial that we would be having. If you've pled guilty or no contest, then I'm moving forward with you today, just directly from the judge. And again, I'm Judge Person. And what we're doing at that point is sentencing. If a sentence has already happened and it's not working, you also could be in this docket because we're going to troubleshoot the sentence, okay? If you haven't been sentenced, I'll be talking to you about options. Now, let me talk just briefly, and excuse me, my allergies have really been getting me lately. So with sentencing, normally this is a Class C court. So generally speaking, you don't get sentenced to jail. Now you can get warrants for your arrest for not completing your court order. So it's really important to keep up with anything that you're ordered to do today. And I also put your signature on things. I want you to know what it is. So we usually put it in writing for you. Normally it's payment of fines and costs. Okay. Now that's subject to everybody's ability to pay, and I do look at that. Normally it goes on your record, you're found guilty and you pay it. That's the general rule. And in law, we always have a general rule, and then there are always exceptions. So there's also a way to gain a dismissal in many instances. There's 4 ways to do it, okay? We'll highlight those quickly, give you a brief overview of how they work, and then if you'll listen as I work with people, you'll see how it works. Okay, so compliance dismissals, driver safety course options, what is called deferred dispositions, and teen court. So compliance dismissals, number 1. Those are things that can be brought up to date and dismissed where the law provides for that. Let me give you one example just to make it a little concrete. You're driving down the road, you go to turn, you put on your blinker, you make your turn, officer stops you and says, you didn't put on your blinker. You're thinking, I know I put my blinker on. You and the officer check on that, you realize, and the officer realizes your blinker's broken. Okay, so you come to court on time, you fix the blinker, you bring proof that it's fixed, we scan that into your file, you pay a $10 dismissal fee, your case is dismissed, there's no conviction because it's dismissed, and you don't pay the full fine. Bingo. So it's usually things like that, equipment kinds of things. There are about 12 to 16 of those, depending on how you read them in the code book. I'm not going to do this for each one of them. What I'll tell you is the law says that I should do that with you. So I will walk you through those dismissals. You are welcome to ask when it's your turn. You'll unmute when it's your turn. And if you have questions or you want to ask me about it, it's not a problem. Okay. Because if you don't know why if you thought something was eligible for that, and I'm not asking you about it or moving you toward that dismissal, you can ask me. Okay. All right. The second option for dismissal is if you have a moving violation and you qualify for the driver safety course option. With the driver safety course option, it's usually for moving violations. It cannot be a CDL holder. You need to have a Texas license or be active military or dependent, and we'll need those cards and things to show that. Then you give us your license and your current insurance, and you pay your court costs. You turn in your driving course and your driving record on time, and you gain a dismissal. Now, let me back up just quickly. Let me talk to you a little bit about money, which is not anyone's favorite subject to talk about. And so welcome to court. We talk about things. So what I'll tell you there is every ticket has a court cost and a fine. When you call the clerk's desk, you might have, and you ask, what is the amount of my ticket? You would be given a number, and that number was the whole number. But you can break that number down quite a number of ways. One way is to break it down into really simple terms, court costs and fines. Now, court costs are set by the Texas legislature, and I cannot change them, okay? Fines are set by the judge, and I have control over those, okay? In the driver safety course option, you do pay the court cost, you show your license, insurance, and then you get a 90-day window to bring in a completion certificate of a course that is approved for ticket dismissal in Texas and your driving record. If you do that, I dismiss the ticket, and that fine that was on hold, I waive that fine. So you only pay the court costs. Now, court costs aren't cheap. They range from $144 to $169, and all that money gets sent to Austin, not kept locally, okay? I can work with you on when that's paid. I can't change that it has to get paid for that program. Okay. So I can talk to you about that. I'll automatically assume you might be interested and I'll start pushing to see if you want to do it. You're welcome to ask me questions about it. Okay. You're always welcome to ask me questions. But I mean, I'm just saying, just because you're waiting for me to talk about it, if I'm not and you want to talk about it, you bring it up, is what I'm saying. Third option, deferred disposition. This is a method for gaining a dismissal that basically puts in what kind of looks and feels like a probation period. We don't call it that because there's not a probation officer. There is a staff member that manages it, but you're not coming in and paying fees. You are paying your court costs and fines, and we're sorting out how to do that. Again, that's based on ability to pay. But here's the thing with the deferred disposition. Deferred means delay. Disposition means to make final. So I delay making your case final. I put an order in place. That order specifies what you need to do. It's in writing, what you need to do to gain a dismissal. If you do the listed items on the document, you get a dismissal. So it's a known outcome. You can ask me directly in sentencing for a deferred disposition. If you're on the pretrial docket, you can ask Mr. Matson if he would agree with you to do that. Okay. We are required, or I am at least required, to be open to that sentencing option at every time that I'm asked to do it, as long as it's available on the offense. Okay. So what that means is you've got to ask. The other two, I said I'll start talking to you about it. This one, you have to talk to me about it. So this is a different direction. Okay. It comes in at me instead of me talking to you about it. The other one, you can ask me too. This one, you have to get it. I assume if you don't ask me that you don't want to do it. Okay. So what does it look like to make that request? It's really very simple. Guilty or no contest, I'd like a deferred. That's it. I'd like a deferred is all you would have to say. All right. So just note that you need to make those requests directly to me. Okay. All right. So that's 3. The 4th is teen court. If you are enrolled in school or you have the equivalent like homeschool or GED program, you need to let me know. I probably do know, and I'll be heading toward trying to push teen court at you because it's a really good option. It's very successful. The term we use in law is called recidivism. I'm less likely to see you again if you successfully complete a teen court program. With driving safety, that means I'm less likely to read about you as a statistic. With criminal offenses, I'm less likely to see you, and you're more likely to have options available to you that otherwise wouldn't be. You know, Class C offenses can affect your record, especially criminal offenses like thefts and assaults. So just be aware, okay? And teen court is something that I would look at. Now, I'm going to go ahead and begin the breakout room for the not guilty docket. And what will happen there is you'll actually be sent into a room to talk with Mr. Matson. And then when you're finished, you'll come back into this room. And the first person is Brian Thompson. Mr. Thompson, you might want to unmute and head on over to that room. It's probably going to move you on over there automatically. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Then I have a few people that I just cannot identify, and I need to know who you are. So I have someone on my screen labeled A, literally just a vowel because it's not even capitalized. Could you tell me your name, please? I've asked you to unmute. A, please tell me who you are.
Artorion.
Sorry?
Artorion.
Okay, Mr. Williams, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so listen, actually I was kind of hoping you would log in this morning. I could let you know I did receive all the paperwork you submitted. I reviewed all of it. I accepted all of your pleas. I know you reviewed them carefully with staff, and I did time serve you on everything, including your juvenile cases. Okay.
All right.
That means you're done. That means there's nothing more for you to do for the court. Okay.
All right.
All right. So you're actually good to go and hang up now. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. So the next person I'm trying to figure out is just labeled iPhone. And I'm asking, so I need to know who's here because I've got to make sure I have the right file pulled. So iPhone, tell me your name, please.
Anthony Venegas.
Okay. What's the last name?
Venegas with a V.
Venegas. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying Venegas. Excuse me. Okay, great. I'm just going to go ahead and change the name on the screen so that I don't lose track of you, Mr. Venegas.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And then Scott Stewart was on the screen, and I have a Stewart. Is it Kade Stewart?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, great. And I'm assuming Scott is your dad.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. I'm just gonna do the first name change. It won't change it permanently. It'll just change it for this meeting. And that way I don't lose track of you, Kade, and I'll be with you shortly. And then let's see, I had another one. Shelby Wilson. On the screen, you were named Shelby Wilson.
Yes.
Here we go.
Currently Beatty.
Beatty, okay. Brittany Beatty, great, you're on the pretrial docket, and I'm just gonna change the name on the screen. Again, I do kind of note when people are logging in. And that's part of what I'm doing when y'all are sitting there waiting to be let in, is I check out who's here and put y'all in order. Kind of like if you showed up at court, I would, there would be a line. Mr. Hudson Marcus, did you tell me your name? Oh, no, that is you. Okay. You had logged in just slightly late, so I've got you down. No problem. That is that's the name I was looking for. And then I had someone named /typing. Are you still here? They might have gone away. That was a new one. I've not seen that /typing, but I just could not identify who that would be. And Alexa's iPhone, I just wondered if that was Miss Updike, Alexa Updike.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Oh,
I changed it to Updike. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I thought it was you, so I went ahead and made a note, but I just wanted to confirm that I had that right. And
Excuse me. I was typing, but I changed my name already.
oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Sanchez.
Yes,
Great,
ma'am.
great. I'm glad you told me because then I can make sure that I didn't cross you off.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Thank you. Typing was new for me. I kind of got a chuckle.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out how to change my name on there. I don't know.
Now you know. So it's all the new world that we're learning to operate in, and some of it's kind of helpful. Not all of it, but some of it. Okay, Mr. Matson and Mr. Thompson, let me just pull that file and y'all can tell me where you are. How are things, Mr. Matson?
We are proceeding to trial, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Thompson, that means we're coming here to have the final pretrial on June 1st at 1 o'clock. We're going to send that notice to you.
All right.
Can we use the email that we have on file that we used to set up this meeting today?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just making a note of that, and we will see you then. That'll be a brief check-in, just planned for about 20 to 30 minutes that day. We'll be kind of reviewing things for the final trial settings, and we'll see you then. Okay?
All right.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Mr. Matson, you're moving forward with Randall Menon. And let me get that person identified on my screen. Mr. Menon, you can unmute and you're heading on over to that meeting. And I'm moving forward first with Kade Stewart.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hi, let me just get your file pulled up. fair number of people today. There it is. And I just pulled Williams too. We already pulled Williams, didn't we? Okay, so Kade, and your dad is Scott Stewart, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, and I'm just making a note of Dad, because Dad is required to be part of this discussion because you're under 17. This is a speeding charge, and the fines and costs, if you paid them at the window, are $259. On your written form, you entered a plea of guilty. Is that your plea this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
You feel like you understood the options for pleading guilty, not guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll accept your plea. You made a request for teen court, which is what I would want to do as well. With teen court, there's a $20 fee. Can you pay that fee today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Kade, what I would then ask is that you perform a driving safety course, but you're going to have a shorter timetable than you normally would. It would be 30 days, and that would be May 24th due date. If you turn it in on time, your case would be dismissed and the remaining balance would also be waived, okay, the $259. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Kate, are you committed to getting that done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, here's what I want to do. You get my 5-cent lecture, okay? So when you're underage and when we're talking driving and criminal offenses, for everybody here, so you know, underage here is 25 and under. Now, that's not a legal determination. You're an adult at 17. And there's a disconnect, in my opinion, between the law and the reality, which is that until we're 25, our frontal lobe is not fully connected. Okay, so our two hemispheres are not fully engaging together. What that means ultimately is our decisions are not the best. Okay, so a course is really designed to get you thinking, especially when you're driving. And what we know is that you're going to drive a little bit better for a little bit of time, about 12 months. That's why we're allowed to do this about every year to get rid of a ticket. I'm not exercising your driving safety course option, so that's still an option down the road. Hopefully you won't need it. But what I'm saying, just for teen court, you're doing it, okay? And the reason that we're doing it and we're doing it so quickly is Texas kills more drivers under the age of 18 than any other state in America. We are the #1 state. It's not, that's a prorated distribution. It's not because, you know, you are, there are more people in Texas, okay? It's apples to apples, that comparison. And we also have one of the highest rates for death and dismemberment on our roadways for all of us, not just young people. We kill more young people, we maim more people. And so the only way I know as a judge to really address that is each and every person I see, I try to hoist that onto them. So I'm going to ask you to do that. I need you motivated enough to get it done. Kade, you can do an online course or you can do a course around town. That choice will be yours, but it will need to be a 6-hour course, okay? And I will have a list of places where you can do the course, including one in Bell County that is geared more towards young people. There'll probably be a little emblem there. It's in Belton. But I don't have an opinion about which one. I'm not here to hawk for a provider, okay? You can pick the one that works best for you or the one that you like the looks of, that's fine, as long as it's an approved course for dismissal. And the hallmark of that is going to be 6 hours, okay, or more. So we'll have that at the window for you. And I'm going to ask you now, when can you be here? How quickly can you get over to the court safely? Can you come this morning?
Does he need to come or can I handle that, Your Honor?
He has to come with you, but we can get excuses for work or school.
Okay. We can be over there in however long it takes to get there to drive legally.
Okay, coming in this morning. we'll have everything at the window for y'all probably by the time you get here. And just, Kade, read everything, make sure you understand what's expected of you. Dad is signing off that he's gonna urge you to get it done, but it's not his responsibility as a driver, it is yours, okay?
Y'all, just a quick question. Where are we coming this morning?
So y'all know where you came and did the form before?
So, you know where you came to the form? I think she did it at home. She got it
Yeah.
printed out.
Well, that's fine. We're at 401 North 3rd Street. We are just kind of catty corner to the Central Fire Station across the street. And it's just the same exact place. And you're just coming into the window. It'll take you about 10 minutes or less once you get here.
Okay.
Other good questions? Okay. Gentlemen, I'll let you go. We'll see you shortly. Thank you, sirs. Moving forward, let's see. Did Mr. Matson go in with Mr. Menon? I guess he did. Okay. My next person is actually Christina Williams. Ms. Williams, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning, ma'am?
Fine.
Okay. I'm looking at paperwork and I did see a plea of guilty to a no insurance charge. Before I accept that plea, I would ask you, were you covered at the time of the stop, which was February 26th of 2022?
I don't believe I was, no.
Then I will accept your plea. The balance is $281. I've also reviewed the ability to pay forms, and I've determined that community service is what I can order there.
Okay.
And let me ask you, do you have any disabilities that I need to be made aware of?
I'm bipolar and schizophrenic. That's it.
Okay. This is what I do with community service is I give you a list of places where you can go do the work.
Okay.
And they're all in the community. And then you go out and you pick the one that works best for you and you get it set up and you go do it. We don't direct that for you because I feel like everybody's a grown up, they can do it. You get your hours done. I usually give you a pretty big window to get it done. If you get it done early, you can just turn it on in. If you can't get it done on time, you need to come in on or before your due date and ask for an extension and bring me the hours that you have. Okay. And
Okay.
right now that due date would not be until June 21st. And it's 14 hours. And I have a list of places and some rules for how to go about it that I would like you to have. The easiest way to do that, because I also need to get your signature, is to just have you come in this morning or this afternoon to pick everything up. Can you come in this morning?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we'll have everything at the window, Ms. Williams, and just read through it. The top page will be like a timesheet to keep track of your hours. You're going to sign and initial your hours, and so will the supervisor. You'll
Okay.
tell me where you'll fill in and tell me where you went. The next page will be rules. The biggest one is if you leave the provider list, make sure it's a nonprofit under state law, or I won't be able to count it. Okay.
Okay.
Read all the rules. It's one page. It's not a lot. And then the next page will be a list of places where you can choose from that are already pre-provided. You don't have to make sure they're going to be approved. They're already approved. And they are places that have agreed to be on that list in the community. Okay.
Okay.
And then you're good to go. And just your due date will be on the top of the paperwork. And if you can't meet the deadline, just come let us know and bring what you've done and drop me a note about, what happened and what kind of time you need. If you get it done early, you just turn it in at the clerk's desk. Okay.
Okay. Thank
Ms.
you.
Williams. Yes, ma'am. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. I'm going to let you go. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye. So I'm moving forward to Reece Johnson. If you'll unmute. Mr. Johnson.
Good morning,
Hi.
Your Honor.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm well. Do you have a family, a mom or a dad or a guardian?
Yes, Grammy's here.
Okay,
Shirley
Graham.
Haynes.
Can you tell me your name, please?
Reece Johnson.
Right. I'm sorry, grandmother.
Shirley Haynes.
Cheryl Lee?
Shirley Haynes.
Shirley, I'm sorry, Miss Haynes. Okay, Miss Haynes, are you authorized to sign documents with Mr. Johnson? With Reece?
Most definitely. Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, so here's the thing. I reviewed your file, Priest, and as far as the Temple Court is concerned, you have not had an offense with us before. And this is a theft charge, and it's $296. I did receive your plea, and I did want to just confirm that you understand your pleading options. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then we also emailed some documents for you to review for court today. And we sent that a couple of days, no, yesterday. Did you get those yet? They look like this, the first one.
Haven't received, Your Honor, but I'll look right quick because I was scrolling this morning. I hadn't seen nothing, not even in my spam.
Sent it to Priest
Did you
Johnson
send them to his
5.
phone as well, or just send it?
We sent it to Priest Johnson 5 at Gmail.
Okay.
Okay.
You need
It's
to check.
okay. It's okay. We're just going to keep going. Give me a moment. Let me just talk with Mr. Menon and Mr. Matson. Priest, hang on just a moment. And Ms. Haynes, I'm going to ask you to get on court on the screen too.
Okay.
But Mr. Matson, Mr. Menon, Mr. Matson, where are we with regard to this charge?
Your Honor, we're going to go ahead and set for final pretrial. And
Okay.
there's a chance I will speak with Mr. Menon prior to that date.
Okay, Mr. Menon, just keep in mind that the pretrial date, June 1st at 2. Where are you, sir? Oh, there you are. You're just off screen. I'm going to ask you to unmute and get back on screen.
Okay, sorry, Winner.
That's okay. Mr. Menon, June 1st at 2 is our next date. And remember that only the court can excuse you from court. So call the day of and see if it's still on for that time. And if it is, then whatever's going on, you'll need to be okay. And we'll see you then, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Menon. We'll see you June 1st at 2. We'll email that to the email that we used to set up this meeting.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, and I'll let you go. And then Mr. Johnson and Ms. Haynes, thank you for getting on screen. So, Priest, here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about these forms, and then when you come in this morning to sign your other documents, you'll sign these then. That way you don't have to pull them up and try to print them at home. And I mean, I'd have to delay you, and it's your turn. So I want to focus on you right now, okay? Yes? Okay,
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
going to need to speak up. You're very soft-spoken, and you're backlit. I can't see your face, and I'm just trying to communicate with you, okay? So I'll need you
Yes,
to
ma'am.
just, thank you. That's a little bit better. So, Mr. Matson, I need to send Mr. Matson on over. Charles Green and Mr. Matson. Mr. Green, you're next. I'm going to send you on over to that meeting, okay? There you go. So, Mr. Johnson, the first form is just going to tell you that under the law, you have, you're charged with the offense of theft under $100, which is a misdemeanor. You have the right to hire an attorney to advise you and represent you. You have the right to have that attorney present prior to and during any interviews or questioning by peace officers or attorneys that represent the state. Okay. Do you understand what I'm telling you so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You also have the right to remain silent. You're not required to make a statement, and any statement made by you may be used against you in court. And you have the right to stop any interviews or
Your Honor,
questions.
you bouncing off, can barely hear you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure where it dropped off, Mr. Johnson, but I'm going to back up. You have the right to remain silent. You are not required to make any statement, but any statement made by you may be used against you in a court. You have the right to stop any interviews or questioning at any time. What that effectively means for you and I today is, it really has to do with your plea. And if you decide before you enter that plea or before I accept that plea that you want to meet with an attorney first, you can, okay? What that means for you, like out in the community, is if you were being questioned by a peace officer or attorney representing the state, you can say, I'm underage and I want an attorney to advise me. I'm not going to answer questions. Okay? You with me so far, Bree?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So you entered a plea of guilty. I haven't accepted it yet. Before I do that, I want to tell you that I did review your history with the court, with this particular court, okay? And I don't have any prior theft charges against you here. What that means is you're eligible for a theft intervention class program. Thank you. What would happen is we would reschedule your case for about a month from today, and I would give you a list of places where you could do the course. You can do the course online or around town. You would have to pay for your course. But if you get your course turned in by your due date, your next date, then your case here with the court, the offensive theft, would be dismissed. It would not go on your record. And you would not pay court costs and fines. That is a local program that I have hammered out with the prosecution for first time, especially underage offenders, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So how are you pleading to the charge today?
Guilty.
Okay, I'll accept your plea, but I'm gonna put the case on hold. I'm gonna give you that 30-day extension to May 24th. And I'm gonna need your signature on that extension and for that program. And I'm gonna need to give you a list of places where you can do the course, okay? I also have these forms for you to sign. The first one is that magistrate warning that I just reviewed with you, and I'll have you sign that. When you get here, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
The second form, I'm just gonna have you, when you're here, you and Ms. Haynes can confirm that we have the correct address for you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
The next form will be just saying that you understand anything that we've talked about today, any court order that I've made. There's a duty to keep up with your offense here until it's dismissed or paid, depending on what happens. But I firmly believe and hope that I'll be able to sign that dismissal in a month, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
The fourth form, these are a lot of forms. That's why I don't want to wait for you to print them all out. You can read them when you get here, but I'm giving you the overview. The fourth form that you'll sign just tells you that you have that duty to follow up with your case, and that doesn't expire until it's completed. And also, if you don't get it done, I can refer you to the juvenile courts. But the dismissal option that we're going to do will circumvent that if we get it done. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And then the last form is very wordy. It's a bunch of legal language I'm required to give you. And it is not just for this offense. It's all different kinds of ones. The main focus is on a theft charge. When you turn 17, you have certain rights to just completely expunge it or remove it from your record, okay? Not just the dismissal or a conviction, if you were to get one, but the dismissal. And what you can do is seek to address it if the charge itself, because there's always a record that we were charged with something. That's true even for tickets. And thefts can interfere with career goals. And what I'm trying to do, and I think what you are trying to do with this program, what you're trying to do is open your options up and make sure this doesn't continue past the point of sentencing. So if you sign it, just, yeah, so there are career options that I want you to have that, okay? And part of that is when you get to the, in this case, 17, you can look at whether that can be removed from your history, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is all of that sort of making some sense to you? I know it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in, and the deal is you're gonna wind up reviewing it again. So that's why I kind of like to hit on it a couple of times before you sign it. So we've talked about it, you'll review it, and then if you have any further questions, the clerk can always get with me if it's something they're not allowed to answer, or they can inbox it over to me. And if we need to meet again online, we can. But what you're going to be signing today, besides all of that, what you're going to be signing today is basically an agreement to get that class done on time and turn it in. And don't rely on the provider to send it to us. You make sure we got it, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you have questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so when are y'all coming by, this morning or this afternoon?
No, we coming ASAP.
Okay, we'll have things at the window for you. Great. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, and thank you, Ms. Haynes. Sounds like he's got a good person in his corner. That's excellent.
Thank you.
Ma'am, yes, sir.
Thank you.
See you soon. See you soon. Oh, and if
Bye-bye.
you need excuses for school and what have you, we have it at the window.
We do.
Okay, we'll have that at the window
Okay,
for you.
thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mattson, I know that you were talking with Mr. Green, and I think he's back in the room. Mr. Green, you can get back on screen, please. And Mr. Mattson, it's a registration charge. Where are we on this matter?
Your Honor, at the time of the citation, Mr. Green was actually cited for no insurance as well, and he already pled guilty on that. So I told him that I would treat it as a 1-for-1 deal and dismiss this.
Okay, Mr. Green, Mr. Mattson will be emailing that to me here in the course of the morning, and so I'll sign it. And when I do, can I email it to the email that we have on file for you?
Yes, ma'am. Which email is it?
The one we used to set up this meeting. The
Okay,
one where
yes,
we
ma'am.
sent
That's
the
fine.
link. Okay. All right. We'll send that to you probably sometime today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You're good to go.
Yeah.
And moving forward, Mr. Mattson, your next person is Anthony Venegas. Mr. Venegas, can you get on screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Mr. Mattson and you will have that conversation now. I'm going to send you on over to that meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Mattson. And I am moving forward as well with Dorinda Maldonado.
I'm here.
Hi there.
Hi.
I'm just pulling your file up.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm actually showing that if you wanted to do it, I could change what we're doing to community service. If we did that, let me tell you a little bit about how that would look, okay? If we did that, that would be 31 hours. And I would give you 60 days for the first attempt by June 21st. I can give an extension on that as long as you turn in what you've done so far, but on or before your due date, and drop me a written request for that extension. With
Yes,
some
ma'am.
kind of explanation idea of how much more time. I find it's really helpful to see kind of what can people get done in a period of time, and then they have a better idea of what they need to do if they can't get it all done. If you get it done early, you can just turn it in and be done with the whole thing. How does that sound for you?
Community service is fine.
Okay, and it would be easiest if you came by to pick up the packet. It's not small. Can you come by this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll have everything at the window for you. There'll be one document for you to sign. And then you'll have, as you've probably heard me already explain it, a timesheet, directions, and a list of places. Okay.
Okay, can I request one place to do that community service?
Well, so you tell me what it is.
It's CTLC.
I think it's already on my list.
Okay.
Because they're a nonprofit in the community. It just has to be a nonprofit, and I'll accept it from any nonprofit. But I've had lately people saying, well, one, they told me they were a nonprofit. You need to make sure legally they filed their paperwork with the state. If it's on my list, they have. If it's not on my list, you can check with you can call our case manager, and she can kind of show you what website you use, but basically it's the Secretary of State. It's not just wanting to be one or saying we're going to be one. It needs to be one. I think they are already on our list. I'm just looking at a clerk to see if she happens to know. She's looking for me. I think they're on there.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, they're already on the list. So I let adults pick the place as long as it conforms to what the law allows, which is that I'm only allowed to accept a nonprofit. So that one's going to work fine.
Okay.
Okay. That's a good question.
Okay, thank you.
What other questions do you
have? On the extension, how long do I have?
So we're changing what we're doing. You're not doing the payment anymore. You're doing community service instead because you're qualified for that. And it's 31 hours due June 21st.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll see you here, and that'll be in writing when you come in, Ms. Maldonado. So we'll see you at the window shortly, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Miss Miller, Janice, Queen Explosion.
Yes, good morning.
I actually knew your email, and so I didn't change it because that just kind of makes me smile, to be honest.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's see, we've got a payment plan request. We've had you for community service. I can approve payments if that's what you want to do.
I just think it would be easier. I've been struggling with the community service thing, and I just feel like at least if I do the payment plan, I can just sign up for it and pay it every month and not have to worry about it.
Okay. Couple of questions. Have you done have you been able to do any of the hours? Because I want to give you credit.
I did a couple, but I never went back to the place to get my paper back because it was pretty far, and that's why I stopped doing it, was because it ended up being too far for me to go to on a regular basis.
Okay. All right. If you want to turn any of those in, I would say turn it in by, Monday, and I could still give you credit, and every little bit helps. Okay.
Okay.
The next thing I want to do is take your fine and do a quick couple of reductions. So if you'll hang on a moment, and then you had requested, sorry, let me just make a quick note. You had requested $50 a month, and I can approve.
Yes.
What's a good day to do that? Like what's the day of the month?
I would say the 15th, just because it's after my rent gets paid and it gives me enough time to make sure that that all my ducks are in a row. So like right in the middle of the month would be good.
Okay. And then my last question is, if I email you a payment, can you print it, sign it, and email it back?
Yes, I can do that today.
Okay. We're going to send that, and you can go ahead and go. I'm going to email it to the email that we have on file I'm going to
Okay.
work on some reductions and then we'll send over the payment plan for you to sign off on, okay?
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. On just take Mr. Matson, I know you were talking with Mr. Venegas. Let me just look and see. I think he probably needs help coming back over.
Yes, he does, Your Honor.
And Mr. Venegas, Mr. Matson, where are we with regard to the charge meeting, from March 15th?
Your Honor, we have the terms of a deferral on the table, but I wanted to check with you on whether Mr. Venegas was eligible for community service.
Okay, let me look quickly. Mr. Venegas,
Yes, ma'am.
the work where you work, are you paid every other week?
So I just started a job yesterday and it is paid weekly.
Okay. And is it the same place, cook at FOFOU?
No, ma'am.
Okay, where are you working?
Waterburger in Temple.
And what is your hourly there?
I'm not sure. I mean, like I said, I just started yesterday, so I'm still waiting to get on this actual schedule.
Okay. Any idea, is that full time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I had another question. Your car, do you have a car payment?
No, ma'am.
And do you have rent
No, ma'am.
and living with family?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And then you wrote under other, you wrote debt, and then you put $650. What is that for?
I have credit card debt and like a few other sort of like credit cards, but like credit debts. And then I have a vehicle in my name, but I don't have the vehicle anymore. That I still have to make.
See.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Matson, while it's on the line, which way that's going to go, I would say the answer is yes. Indigent.
Okay, Your Honor. So in that case, the offer was a deferral 120-day period. Mr. Venegas would complete driver safety course by the 60th day. And then the community service arrangement I figured was going to be between the two of you in lieu of payment.
Okay. I got it. So Mr. Venegas, I would approve the deferred request from the two of you. What the conditions are is a driver safety course option has to be completed. A driver safety course has to be completed by June 21st as a condition. And that's actually required by law. So I would have had to require that as well. And then community service on the payment, which is going to be 14 hours. And that'll also be due by June 21st. There's going to be a document for you to sign for community service and the deferred document that you also need to sign. Can we have you up here this morning or this afternoon?
Yes, this afternoon should work for me.
We can have it there by the afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm just making some quick notes. Do you have any further questions about this?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to have the clerk get that paperwork ready for you. And Mr. Matson, if it's all right with you, we'll prepare that deferral here. And
yes, Your Honor.
I'll just make a note for you. And then what I'll say there is you can move forward. And Mr. Venegas, we'll see you this afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're good to go. And
thank you.
Mr. Mr. Matson, Your next person is Brentley Beatty. Yes, sorry, always unless. Miss Beatty, Beatty, yes, Miss Beatty. I'm sending you over to that meeting room to have that meeting with Mr. Matson.
Give me just a second.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm moving forward as well. And my next person is Denise Miller. I already did that one. And then Antoine Meeks. Mr. Meeks. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning, Mr. Meeks?
Good.
I have two charges. One is old, well, they're both older. So, but one that we tried teen court with it and then it did not get successfully completed. So that balance is there for us to deal with whatever else we do, the balance of $311.90. And then there is a theft under $100 charge from July 3rd of 2018. The costs and fines are $483.47. And the allegation date, as I said, was 2018. How are you pleading to that charge?
Guilty.
Okay, I'll accept the plea of guilty on that charge. And then what can you pay today? You have warrants, so I want to try to get you out of warrant. Usually I require payment in full, but I can work on that a little bit. But what I want to know from you is what is the maximum amount that you can pay towards your balance, which is $795.37. What can you pay today to get those warrants off?
Well, I don't get paid till the 3rd, so I don't know what I'll be able to come up with until.
You have no money between your pay dates?
I mean, I could probably do like 50.
Sorry?
I said I could probably do like 50.
Can you do 75?
Yeah, I could see about that, yeah.
Okay, let's do that today. And then what we can do, are you paid every other week?
Yes.
Okay, what day of the week do you get paid?
Fridays.
This Friday or next Friday? Where'd you go? There you go. This Friday or next Friday? Do you get paid tomorrow or do you get paid the next day? I don't know what happened, but it doesn't say you're muted, but I cannot hear you all of a sudden.
You can't hear me?
Now I can.
I get paid on the 3rd.
On the 3rd, okay.
Yes, sir.
So you get paid on Fridays, except the next time you get paid is in. So what you're telling me is I get paid every other week on Friday, but my next pay date is on a Tuesday. So help me understand.
Like with my direct deposit, it comes early, like the Friday before.
So when do you next get money? I don't know why we're having a disconnect. Are you paid on the 29th or are you paid on the 3rd?
Okay, so like it's paid on the 3rd, but my direct deposit hits early because I have a bank account that it comes early Friday for.
When do you have it available to make payment to the sport? That's what I'm asking you. I don't know why that's failing to be answered.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand what you were saying.
When are you available to make payment to the sport? On the 29th, which is a Friday?
Yes.
Okay. So then we're going to go $30 every other Friday.
Okay.
Okay. So you're coming in today to sign so that I can get you out of warrant. And you're paying that $75. And then we're doing $30 every other week.
Yes,
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then we will see you at the window this morning.
All right, thank you.
Which is it? That's the question. This morning or this afternoon?
This morning.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
We'll see you then, Mr. Meeks. Don't go
Yes,
back to Warren. It costs you money.
Okay.
Okay. Moving forward, Andrew Tanez.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, how are you this morning, Mr. Tanez?
I'm doing okay. And you?
Thank you for asking. I'm fine. Let
That's
me get
good.
your file pulled up. So we had until today to complete your essay for teen court.
Okay.
It's already been an extension. There's already been plenty of time to do it. Do we have it?
Yes.
Is it
the
turned
lady,
into the court? Hold on, let me check.
no, it's not turned in yet. The lady told me at the office that I have the end of today to finish it, cause I'm like 3/4 of the way done. All I
I
need
need
is
it today. We close at 5.
yes, ma'am. It'll be in.
Okay.
Yeah. I started.
Otherwise, it's just a conviction and 281.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Needs to be your work.
Okay. Yes. And the other question is how was the other essay?
I'm not debating that with you anymore. I've already talked to you about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I would suggest to you that we check. There are ways to check originality.
Okay.
And we put that into a program online.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Anything else?
No, that'll be it.
Okay. Next person I'm going to talk to, hopefully, is Salma Mahmood. Ms. Mahmood, can you get on screen? Hi. How are you this morning? Can you unmute?
Hi, good morning.
Thank you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me get Mr. Matson moving, and then I'm going to be right with you. Okay.
Sure.
Let's see. Mr. Matson, I know you were talking with Miss Beatty and her mom. This is the possession of alcohol by a minor charge. The costs and fines are $296. Where are we with regard to this matter?
Your Honor, this case is actually being dismissed, and if you'd like to speak with me more in depth about this after pretrial has ended, I'm willing to do that with you.
Okay, that would be fine. Although I think that's about to be now. You might wait, but or we can talk at another time. Miss Beatty, we are going to email you a copy of that dismissal later today. Can we use the email that we have on file?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's the one we used to set up the meeting that you would have linked over to us today. So if that still works, then that's great for us, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, is that dismissal form? Do I need to send you that?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure I write that down.
Okay, I'm going to let you stay muted, and I'm wrapping up soon. I've got a few people, but I think that's it for you. Let me double check. I don't see Quieta Gunter. Oh, there we go. Marcus Hudson is your last person. Mr. Hudson?
Yes,
I'm going to move you over to that pretrial meeting now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, of course. And so, Miss Mahmood?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for waiting. This is allergies. This is a speeding charge, and it has costs and fines of $254, and the allegation date is March 15th. And I did receive your written plea request for deferred disposition and a plea of guilty. I would accept your plea and grant your request for deferred disposition. And
Thank you, ma'am.
yes, ma'am. And it would be for 120 days. I'm not going to require a class, but I do have a question. Can you pay anything towards your balance today of $254?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay. What can you pay towards your balance?
Just so I understand correctly, my full balance will now be 124?
No, it would be 254.
254, okay. So I would be able to pay my full balance today?
Okay. When you do that, I actually lower the deferral period from 120 days to 90 days. It's just a little bit less because I don't have to track the cases as intensely.
I understand. I just had a quick question. Is it possible to have this dismissed just because I've never had a speeding ticket before and it was a very small margin and I've been so careful since to make sure that I am not over this limit?
I understand, and I understand why you want to ask that. The law doesn't let me do it.
Okay, and is it because of my New York license that I'm not able to do the defensive driving course and get a dismissal?
That
So
is
there's no other way around a dismissal?
the deferred is a dismissal.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I do need a signature today. Are you still in Temple? Because I have a Temple address.
Yes, ma'am. I will. Is it possible for me to, what is the latest I can do? I'm actually in Round Rock at the moment. I will be available after 4 o'clock.
Can I email it to you? Have you print it,
Yes.
sign it, and email it back?
Yes, ma'am. That's perfect.
Okay, we can do that. And then once you have it and you've emailed it back to us signed, you can go on the municipal courts page for Temple, City of Temple, and there'll be a pay option there.
Perfect.
And once you've emailed it back to us signed, that means it's set up like a deferred and it won't trigger a conviction when you do that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And is it, sorry, please go ahead.
I was going to say, so don't do it now. Wait. Once you have your paperwork and you've signed it and emailed it back, then go online and make payment.
Okay. And is it liable as long as I get it done before midnight today?
Yeah, the payment can be anytime today. I'd like to get the email back before close of business.
Which would be what time?
5.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. It will keep you from having a conviction.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's going to say, though, no more tickets during this
Yes, ma'am.
time. I don't think it's going to be a problem.
I hope not. Thank you so much. I'll try. Yes.
Thank
Have
you.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. So, Ms. Updike, if you could unmute.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hi, good morning.
Good
I'm glad
morning.
you were able to log back in. You've been on the whole time, and I just was, you kind of went away, and I got worried about it.
Yes.
So there's a speeding charge with costs and fines. They're high right now because they're in warrant of $499.20, and I have a written plea of no contest to that charge. Is that your plea at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then I have again, same date of stop, November 21st of 2020, a no insurance charge, and I have a plea of no contest. And is that your plea at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Were you insured on that day?
No, ma'am, I was not.
Okay. The next thing I want to ask you is, and I know it's pretty recent, are you still with Garland Shelton?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
And you checked off here BDC as your position. What does that mean?
It's a business development center. It's a call center for the service.
Okay. And are you still receiving food stamps?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay. Give me just a quick moment. With all of that, I wanted to understand what's going on. You also listed, you have a son and then 2 younger sisters living with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Are you their caretaker?
Yes, ma'am. I'm their legal guardian.
Okay. And then the rent, you had $14.50 and then you crossed it out and put $7.25. Is that the amount that you pay?
Yes, ma'am. I pay $7.25.
Okay. Are you the only income to that home, the adult?
The house is under my name, but my grandmother does live with me.
Okay. Does she help with bills?
She pays half of the rent.
Gotcha. I'm just, does she have any food stamps or anything like that?
No, ma'am, she does not.
Okay.
She gets SSI.
Okay. I don't need to know her SSI amount, but I wondered, she's disabled then?
Yes, she is.
Okay. So you had put that you would like to pay $85 a month. Sorry, $100 a month. I actually show that that's a hardship. I can order a payment plan as low as $25, but I could also give you an opportunity to do community service. Now, with community service, I can recall your warrants, and then I have a lot of flexibility in terms of how long it takes to get it done. In your case, it would be 46 hours. That's giving triple credit up front. And then I could start with 2 months, but I could give you more time, provided you stayed in communication, turned in your hours that you do get done. And we can kind of get a better feel for, after that first time, we kind of get a pretty good feel for how much more time you need, if you need more time. Does that sound like a possibility?
I wanted to try and request if I could do a driver safety course.
You're not allowed to do it unless you come to court.
I'm not.
Yeah, that's a very specific law, and it says
Okay.
on time to court, which means back in 2020. So we're not, I'm not able to bring that. But what I'm trying to find out is, how about community service to satisfy the judge?
Okay, I can do that.
I want to recall your warrants today. I need your signature on some forms. You won't be arrested to come into court. You would just come in and make signature. Well, I mean, it's a logical question, and people do get
yes, ma'am.
But you're here. We're trying to resolve it, not trying to arrest you. And so, what I would ask you is, can you come in this morning or this afternoon?
I can come in this morning.
Okay, I will have everything hopefully at the front desk for you.
Okay.
All right. You know where to come. It's right where you filled out your paperwork before.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Now, I do have a question. With the community service, will I still be making a payment plan?
No.
No? Okay.
We do. We switch that out.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Mr. Matson, I know that you were visiting with Mr. Hudson, and I think I have that file just right handy. I do, and it's a driving license and valid charge. Where are we with regard to this matter?
Apologies, Your Honor. I didn't realize I was muted. I have told Mr. Hudson that if he submits proof of, there was a mix up with DPS. So if he submits proof of his insurance policy that he renewed back in November, and proof of submission of the SR-22 form, I would dismiss his ticket.
Okay, what's his deadline? Is it today?
Next Friday.
Okay, so Mr. Hudson, we're gonna need your signature on an extension, okay? And the way that that's gonna work is I need you to either come by so I'm extending you to turn in for Mr. Matson. by April 29th. And so you'll have to either come in to sign that, or we can email it to you if you can print it, sign it, and email back a legal signature.
I'm sorry, did I miss something?
I think you did, because I'm asking you, when can you come in? Today, this morning, or this afternoon?
Probably this afternoon. I think
Not a
my-
probably, you have to come in today. Is it this afternoon or this morning?
Great, this afternoon.
Okay, I'll make a note there, and then we'll just sign for that extension to come provide that information, okay?
Okay, I can absolutely do that.
Okay, any further questions?
Unless I missed anything else, I do apologize. I'm having to switch menus.
Well, I think that you and Mr. Matson had an idea of you giving him some information, and he's spelled that out to you, what he wants to see in order to sign a dismissal. And then you're being extended by me to get that, to have time to do that.
Oh, okay. The place that I need to be to provide that documentation, where is that?
Municipal court, where you did your paperwork.
Okay, I can.
Okay.
definitely be this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Bye. Mr. Matson, I'll be right with you. Mr. Sanchez, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, you need to be on screen, Mr. Sanchez.
Yes, ma'am. I couldn't hear you.
Are you in a classroom?
I'm at work actually.
Okay.
I
Where do
could
you
get to a room. Just
Okay.
give me like one second.
Okay.
Hey, Anna, leave your office with us.
Yeah, you're good.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry about that.
Okay. I had a couple of questions. Your sister, is she living with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And are there parents involved, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, my mom lives with us, but not my dad.
Okay. So she's not your legal guardian. I mean, you're not her legal guardian, right?
No, my mom is.
I mean, obviously you're helping. You also had 2 cars. Which one is yours?
I use the truck and they use the car.
And who pays for the truck?
We both go half on all the bills, me and my mom.
You pay half of the car payment on both cars, or just the truck?
Yes, ma'am. Both.
And you pay half the electric?
Yes, ma'am. We go half on all the bills in the house.
I heard you, but what I'm trying to ask is what you have written down here the half?
Yes, ma'am.
that you pay? Is here, let me finish the question. That way
okay.
I'll get an answer to what I'm asking.
Yes, ma'am.
So you wrote down the half that you pay, or you wrote down the whole bill?
Oh, let me check those papers because I have them with me. Yes, ma'am. The water bill, that's the full amount.
Okay.
The electric, that's the full amount. The cable, that's the full amount. Insurance, that's the half for both cars. Is I
And the
believe
cell
it's
phone?
like, huh?
And the cell phone?
The cell phone, that's the full amount.
Okay, and so it's half, is what you're saying. And then the mortgage? Is that your bill?
Mortgage, No, that's how much we pay in total.
What do you give her? Do you pay any of that one?
I give her $375.
Okay, let me recalculate what I've got going on. You had requested, right, you had requested an $85 a month payment plan. Is that what you're trying to do?
I was trying to see like the deferred disposition options, like what were those? Because at first I couldn't go miss work for the first court date that I had, so I didn't miss it. I went there instead to court. I went to talk to the clerk, and she talked to me about this option right here, and I got set up for this court date.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
back to trying to grant that, and I'm trying to ask you questions that help me know what it's going to look like. So
Yes, ma'am.
again, I'm back to the question. Normally with the deferred, we have to collect the balance, okay? And
Yes, ma'am.
so my question is, what can you pay towards your balance today?
Today I can pay $60.
Okay. So on your deferred, I've got to collect the balance. And I also am going to want to see 6 months of insurance prepaid. I
Excuse
can
me,
give,
ma'am, could you repeat that? I couldn't hear you.
yeah. On the deferred, I'm going to
Yes,
have to collect your balance.
Okay.
Let's start with that.
Yes, ma'am.
After a $60 payment, you'll have a balance of $221. And I can only do 2 more payments on that. So that would be $110 and $111. And my first question is, when are you paid in your job? What day of the week do you get paid?
I get paid on Fridays.
Okay. Can you make a payment next Friday on the 29th of $110?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then in May, 3 months later, 3 weeks later, excuse me, in May, on the 20th, can you make your final payment of $111?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then the final thing is on that day, May 20th, can you bring in proof of 6 months of prepaid insurance?
We don't, the ticket was in February, and I think we got it like 2 weeks later in March, the insurance.
Okay. What I'm asking for in May is I need you to bring in 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Proof from
Yes,
your insurance company that you will be covered for the next 6 months.
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
Okay. That proof will be due May 20th. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to need you to come by today to make signature and do that cash payment of $60. What time this afternoon will you be here?
I can come on my lunch break. It'll
Yes.
probably be between 1:30 and 2 p.m.
Perfect. We'll see you then at the window.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.